The Spectacular Spider-Man is a beloved 2008 Disney XD/Kids WB series about, you guessed it, Spider-Man. The Spectacular Spider-Man is widely considered amongst fans to be the very best adaptation of Spider-Man to date. Not just the best cartoon, but also better than any other TV show, any movie, any video game series. The very best representation of Spider-Man anywhere outside of the comic books. I do plan on doing a more in-depth video about the series soon, hopefully soon. Before I do that, however, I would like to talk about an idea I had for how the show could come back, albeit still highly unlikely the series ever returns in any form. Why was The Spectacular Spider-Man cancelled? Well, to put it simply, it was because of legal troubles. Sony, the company that produced The Spectacular Spider-Man, used to own the rights to be able to make Spider-Man TV shows. However, in 2009, they lost those rights and Marvel reacquired them. The same Marvel who is now, of course, owned by Disney. Sony still retains the rights to Spectacular Spider-Man, but they can no longer produce Spider-Man TV series. Disney has the rights to make Spider-Man TV series, but they do not have the rights to The Spectacular Spider-Man. Consequently, no company has the rights to continue The Spectacular Spider-Man, which is why the show was ultimately cancelled. Will the series ever come back? Again, I doubt it for several reasons. I know Sony and Disney right now are working together on the Spider-Man MCU movies, but those are big budget Hollywood movies that could make like $1 billion at the box office. I doubt they'll feel the need to work together on a decade-old cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon. The money just isn't there. Furthermore, I'm not sure how popular The Spectacular Spider-Man is. Does this series have the same cult following that, say, Samurai Jack had? I genuinely don't know. If it does, then maybe there could be enough fan pressure that could lead to it coming back, though I doubt it. Now, another way the show could come back would be if Sony were to reacquire the rights to Spider-Man in TV, or if Sony were to sell the rights to The Spectacular Spider-Man to Disney. However, I doubt Disney would want to buy it or care to buy it because, again, it's a dozen-year-old cartoon series. What would the incentive be for them to buy it and then continue it? It's not a big-budget movie, it's not a blockbuster, they're not going to make that much money from it, I would assume. And for Sony, they probably at least make some money from Spectacular DVD and Blu-ray sales and perhaps digital if it's available anywhere. Maybe if Disney offered them enough money, they would be willing to sell it. Although, again, I doubt Disney would offer that much money for it, if any. Now, the other thing I said there would be if Sony somehow reacquire the rights to Spider-Man TV. I don't know how that is possible. I don't know how they lost it in the first place. However, if they did get Spider-Man TV rights again, then maybe they could bring back the series. But the show is a dozen years old. As I've said several times before, even if Sony got the rights to make Spider-Man TV series again, would they really care that much to bring back the series? I think The Spectacular Spider-Man has a better chance of coming back via Sony reacquiring the rights to Spider-Man on TV and then continuing the show, rather than Disney buying the rights to Spectacular and continuing the show that way. I think the former is more likely than the latter. With all that being said, here's the idea I have for how Spectacular could come back. I came up with this idea when I was reading the Spectacular Spider-Man Wikipedia page and reading about some of the ideas that Greg Weisman had for the show if it were to continue, if it had continued. Sony does not have the rights to make Spider-Man TV series, but they do have the rights to make Spider-Man movies. Weisman said that he had intended on making a few direct-to-DVD movies set in the Spectacular Spider-Man universe. So, maybe the show could come back in that form. A series of direct-to-DVD or direct-to-digital movies based off of the show. I would assume Sony can still do that, right? They don't have the rights to make TV series, but they can make movies about Spider-Man. So perhaps that is the avenue for Spectacular to come back. Through a series of direct-to-DVD, direct-to-Blu-ray, direct-to-digital movies set in the universe of the show. I do think it is highly unlikely that ever happens, but if Spectacular were to ever come back, I think that could be how. I really hope I get that Spectacular Spider-Man video done soon. I'll say this, if I do not have it done by the end of this month, it is probably not coming out until like January. We'll see how that goes.